I know some people are out there looking for manager jobs, and I know that they're probably curious, what should I know or what do I need to know in order to get this position and or be able to answer competently during the interview process. So first and foremost, I know a lot of the managers, specifically the ones that I've dealt with, I promoted or somehow I poached from somewhere else. Don't tell anyone. And or maybe I groomed them, like I essentially coached them up in order to become managers. Sometimes you can see people that are very competent at their jobs, whether they're bartenders or servers, and they probably look like management material. What I like to do is just get to gauge what it is that they're most likely going to excel at. Like, for example, implementing things, which is, I think, one of the bigger components to becoming an adequate manager and or a manager that gets promoted quicker. Everyone has great ideas. They see that the restaurant has like nobody coming in. They think that if you buy Facebook ads or magazine ads that it's going to get people to come in. Yeah, I'm pretty sure some people might react to that. The reason why I bring it up is because a lot of people think that just because they have these great ideas that that's the cure-all. A lot of us that are watching this video know that it comes down to the guest experience. And if the guest is happy to be in the restaurant and happy to enjoy whatever products that you're selling, enjoy the server, the bartender that they're interacting with, maybe the manager is cool. You know, sometimes they don't like touching tables, they don't like saying hi to people, so they're just standing there like statues, and most of the time those are the people that are not getting promoted. There are instances for certain locations where you get promoted based on your looks, like your physical aspect. Yes, that's a huge component in the hospitality world. Take it from the guy that's been passed over a million times because of my height or I'm not the right look for them. I didn't care, just because once I got that impression that I wasn't going to be one of those people that they wanted to promote because I don't fit the part physically. You did me a favor, because now I'm going to leave. I'm going to go find another company that actually values merit over that. I get that it's a proven fact. I get it. Like, there's studies out there that people make more in terms of tips because of their attractiveness and all that stuff. I get it. That those studies, whether they're accurate or not, I have no idea they exist. And from my experience being in the restaurant business for 1,000 years, it does. I mean, some people get hired just because of the way they look. They could be the most incompetent person on earth, but because that's the aesthetics that we're looking for, then that person gets hired. Well, the same thing happens for restaurant management or management in general. I can only speak to restaurants in general just because that's where I come from. I'm sure this stuff applies to other industries as well. I'm just talking about restaurants. So if you're not on the hot scale, then you may want to be a little more adequate at certain skills, so that I guess that makes up for your lack of attractiveness. I hate that I have to talk about that, but it's the truth in this industry, which is horrible, but it's the truth. So, because, specifically some owners, they think that they want to have like hot chicks all over the place, and that brings people in. Yes, it brings people in. Not that many people. If you're actually looking for like pervs to come to the bar, and that's a different story. Let them go to the bar. Those guys actually, they pay the bills, so I can't really trash them. They pay a lot of money for just hanging out at the bar, and I don't know, spitting game at the bartender. I don't know how else to put that, but it is what it is. So for those people that want to be aspiring or that are aspiring managers, I made a quick list of things that you should consider, so that when you do have the opportunity, or if you want to sharpen those skills before you get that opportunity, here's some things to consider, so that when that opportunity presents itself, you have adequate answers. Most of the time, I'm being straight up with you, like there's like this threshold you cross where your answers are good enough, and a lot of the times the person interviewing you just wants to know that they're going to get along with you, that you're not going to step on their toes, they're not going to feel like you're hot on their heels trying to get their job. They want to make sure you're a good soldier, you're not going to backstab them, you're not going to throw them under the bus, however you want to put it, just so that you can replace them in their job. Once in a while, over the few years I've been managing, I've got a whiff of managers that think they can do things better just because they saw something on Kitchen Nightmares or whatever. That's fine. Go do you, right? Now, if the higher ups feel like that's something that is more important to them, you should obviously keep track of that as well. You need to know, hey, they value that person's opinion about something that they have no idea about or have never really implemented and have no data on. And so because of that, you have to be fully aware of that, because if that's what they think, it might be time for you to go. As everyone knows watching this video, the restaurant world is extremely transient, meaning everyone's quitting all the time looking for other positions, or maybe sometimes they're just looking for higher paying positions, and that's okay too. But there's a lot of turnover. So with that said, that means there's a lot of people that can step up, assume the position, run with the position, do really well in it, and maybe prop themselves up for the next job opportunity in the future. The other skill set that I would highly emphasize is leadership. You need to be able to be a good leader, right? Making decisions quickly, not folding under pressure. There's a lot of people that get nervous when the rush is on and you have a million people coming at you with all kinds of things that they're needing. Servers need discounts, this customer's complaining, the music's too loud outside. Those types of things you can fix. Just don't panic, because when the staff sees you're panicking, that's when they start feeling shaky about you. Then they start talking about you to other people, and then all the rumors and all that stuff start, and it just starts eroding from there, and you don't need that. So make quick decisions, whether they're right or wrong. You're a rookie manager. It is what it is. You just have to try your best to make the best decision possible in that moment. You don't want to be the deer in the headlights. You don't want to be that person. There's a lot of that happening. If you want to take a beat to just think about it and then make a decision, of course, but make a decision. Leadership is about making decisions quickly, thoroughly, accurately, so that you can lead the troops, right? Lead them into battle, get through that dinner rush, direct traffic, direct the kitchen, make sure everything's moving along smoothly, right? So those are the types of things that fall into the category of communication. When you're communicating with your staff, you want to be as respectful as possible. You want to have the best verbiage possible. I luckily early on in my career was hired at the Ritz-Carlton, and I learned about hospitality and the guest experience and guest services and all that stuff. I was able to speak a certain way, behave a certain way. They did a really good job of brainwashing. So just a little pro tip, go to the Ritz-Carlton website and just memorize, the steps of service, the motto, the credo, the mission statement, all those things. Believe it or not, after the millions of years that I've been in this industry, and that happened a million years ago, I still remember a lot of the culture, and that was taught. And then they basically take 16 hours of training, but it's really, the way I put it, brainwashing. They're instilling, that's another Ritz-Carlton word, they're instilling the culture into you. And guess who models that culture? Apple, right? The biggest corporation in the entire world uses a lot of those culture guest experience fine points that everyone gets to feel when they walk into your presence, or feel when they walk into your restaurant, or even feel on a very, very micro level when you're in the interview. When you're in the interview and you're speaking to the interviewer, you're using would I and could I, casual words and stuff like that. Like, you want to have that as a part of your verbiage because it helps with everything that you do, whether you're interviewing people, chatting it up with the guests at the table. You need that. So, and when you're having these pre-shift meetings, if anyone has pre-shift meetings out there, if you're using this kind of verbiage and you're trying to explain culture and the guest experience to your staff so that they can deliver that same experience to the tables, those types of words that you learn from the websites, when I'm telling you, just go to the website, it blends in together and you now starts oozing out of you. And you even if you're talking to the kitchen and you having to translate things in Spanish, you now say things in a very polite but stern, I mean business way, and things get done. Same thing for all the pre-shifts, because for all the people out there that are wanting to be managers and stay in this business or do really well in this business, I cannot emphasize how important pre-shifts are. Pre-shifts they're really annoying because, yeah, as a manager, you have to come up with all kinds of different topics all the time to emphasize, but it's extremely important. You need to be able to talk to the staff and communicate things on a daily basis. Your managers need to be able to do the same thing. If you need to train your managers on how to be good pre-shift managers, then, do some role playing at the manager meeting. Managers need to be able to deliver everything that the general manager or ownership wants to deliver. And that message needs to be instilled, or it needs to sink into the staff. So pre-shifts are extremely important. Communication during those pre-shifts are extremely important. And while you're leading these staff members, you need to communicate with them in a stern, polite, respectful way. They need to know that you're looking out for their best interests, all while looking out for the best interests of the restaurant. The best interest of the business is the utmost important thing that needs to be delivered for the entire restaurant, even during your giant staff meetings that you have every now and then. You need to be able to explain to them the best interest of the restaurant is what I'm looking for, and because I'm doing that, I'm delivering this message to you. Therefore, you need to carry out that information, whether it's sales, promotions, new steps of service. Those things need to be implemented by you, the manager. So if you're an implementer out there, you have no idea how important that is. And if you are one of those people, you need to write all this stuff down and create your own systems, because I can guarantee you 99% of the time, the occasion is going to come up again at your new job or your new venture, and you're going to need those SOPs, those standard operating procedures. You're going to need them, because if you can implement them in your own fashion and you have a record of that, you're going to be able to use it anywhere else. That all blends into the next layer, which is customer service, which is really the general term for the guest experience. Someone comes to your home, they're your guest. You treat them like gold. And then, therefore, that experience is completely different from going to like Walmart or Chick-fil-A, right? Well, actually, Chick-fil-A uses the Ritz-Carlton culture too. McDonald's. And that's another one. Look into Chick-fil-A employee culture. They have copied the entire Ritz-Carlton motto and everything else, and then just made it their own. This is an easy one. Managers need to be extremely smart about the menu and all the nuances, where things come from, how they were grown, where they're sourced from, how they're cooked, what the cooking methods are. All those things have to come into play so no one can school you, specifically during pre-shift. If a server gets smart with you during pre-shift and you don't know how to answer and you're the manager, keep in mind, these people are like, by and large, very, very young, and they're, even if you're like the most, lackadaisical manager on earth, they still look up to you. So if you can't answer a question, we have a problem here, and it's your job to know the menu anyway, whether it's at the bar menu or the kitchen menu. The menu has to be known, and everything on the website you need to know. So when you're scrolling through social media and all that stuff, take a moment, just take a look at your website, make sure that everything's cool and tip top. If you find something that's not right, that's when you tell corporate, and then you get, brownie points or whatever, right? For all the higher level managers, everyone wants to know how to do finance and all that stuff. It's very important to know how to do a P&L, of course, cash flow statements, of course, all that stuff you can find here on YouTube. By and large, everything is going through a transitional phase right now where everything's going to go AI and all that stuff, and a lot of things are going to be automated, but it does not hurt to know how to use Excel. Like, that's when it comes to all these P&L statements and financial statements, Excel is extremely important. So there was a second level of knowing, besides the core competency things, the next layer would be Excel. If you know how to use Excel, you're in good shape, because you don't have to be a wizard. You don't have to create crazy formulas, conditional form. Just, do you even know how to make two cells add up together? Those are important things. So you don't look like, you don't want to feel when you're being called out by another manager, higher up manager or owner, like, what does this cell mean? Like, what did you put in this cell? You need to know at least how to, like, look at the cell and go, okay, is there a formula in there? No? Okay, let me put one in there. And then now these things add up and divide and all that stuff, right? PEMDAS. Remember PEMDAS? So those are very important things. When it comes to the staff, they're always going to be tired. You're always going to be working a lot. If you have a very busy restaurant, they're always going to be picking up shifts. So because of that, they're going to be coming in late or coming up with crazy excuses. I don't even like hearing excuses. I'm just like, just come in. If it happens too much, I just take your shifts away. That's what I tell them. Best way to get the people in the restaurant is just take money out of their pocket. So all I do is just not schedule them, because it's not worth it. And if I'm hiring all the time and looking for good people, then I'm not going to have to worry about it after a while. They're just going to know Dave's going to take away my shifts if I continually show up late. So I'm going to stop being late. But if they get cute when they're new, their dog died, their car's not working, I missed my Uber, I missed my bus, I don't even care. It is what it is. You're late, you're late. That goes back to you. Stop being late. If you want to be a manager, you have to be a professional. That means you have to be early. So if the managers notice you're always there early, and you have that reputation for being early, that gives you the leg up on these people that are also looking to get bumped up as managers, okay? Don't be petty. There's a lot of people that think throwing people under the bus and being shady is a good way to move up in the restaurant world. Let me break you off a little piece of wisdom here. If you're competent, the managers are going to know whether you're competent or have the ability to be competent and have critical thinking skills and all that stuff. So whether you're being shady or not, it doesn't matter. Like, you can tell on people and throw them under the bus all you want, but in reality, managers don't want to be inconvenienced. So they're going to hire someone. They don't want to be inconvenienced, whether you're a bartender, server, or manager. They don't want to be inconvenienced. And in essence, they want you to make them look better. So if you're shady early on, what makes you think they're not, even if you get bumped up, them not thinking you're not going to be shady and throwing them under the bus? Like, it's not a good idea. So don't be petty. Again, problem solving skills are a huge deal. There's a lot of psychology behind that on YouTube. I would suggest looking at something called game theory. Those types of things lets you weigh out things, cost benefit in your head quicker. So when we go back to the leadership skills, you're making decisions quicker because you can make the information process in your head faster, and then you just come up with a reason to do whatever it is. Say, for example, you make a decision, someone asks, why'd you make that decision? Well, because of this. You have that in your head. You just didn't arbitrarily make the decision, hopefully. But if you do, you do. Sometimes you have to, because blindly you just have to keep moving forward because the rush is crazy, and you may be the only manager on duty. Inventory management. There's a lot of software out there that people are using now. Don't worry about it. Toast is like a big one, and it's not even that hard because, again, it's YouTube. It's not like years ago where you did software and software input for inventory management, but you didn't have YouTube or anyone explaining things to you, and then the person on the phone, you had to pay for them to answer your questions. Like, it just didn't happen that much. Now there's YouTube. You can have all kinds of answers at your fingertips. So no big deal. Inventory in particular, don't screw it up. Like, make sure that you're ahead of the game. Whenever it is that it's your day to do inventory, don't wait till the last minute, and don't be afraid to ask people for help. Everyone that understands inventories understands that it sucks. And for a lot of aspiring managers, they think that if they do inventory, that for some reason you're going to get bumped up quicker. It doesn't work that way. Everybody hates inventory because you're there late, or takes time away from doing other things that are important, or it's just boring. Like, inventory is a necessary thing, but it's not what a lot of people think, that inventory is this huge thing in management. It's not. It really isn't. Like, who cares about management? Like, I mean, who cares about inventory? Like, you're counting bottles or you're counting filet mignons. Like, anyone can do it. That's why most of the time for the kitchen staff, I would have the kitchen staff, as part of their SOPs, count at the beginning of the shift and then count at the end of the shift. Therefore, I don't have to do it. The bar is a little different, but if you're staying ahead of things, you're in good shape. Marketing and promotions for all new managers out there. If you do not have a social media presence, I suggest you start one, because whether you stay with that company or not long term, or you go off and go get hired somewhere else, if you can prove to the new employer that you have this amazing social media presence, then they're more likely to bring you on, because everything's built on social media now. Brands are built on social media, and because brands are built on social media, you proving that you have core competency of even having to start a social media account and grow it to X amount of followers, and keep in mind the engagements should be very, very high, 1%, 1.5%. If you're at the 3% level, great. So engagement is very nice as well. SEO, search engine optimization, you should know what those three little letters mean, because they're extremely important, and you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're embarking on outside of the restaurant, the SEO is as big as it can get. We're all stretched thin. So I'm like making this video because I haven't made a video in so long, so I need to make a video. I'm just busy doing my restaurant thing. So networking is a huge deal. Even the little peon bussers and all that stuff, they're part of your network. So I wouldn't treat them bad. They're very, very necessary in your growth in the future. So if you happen to find a better opportunity that pays you well within the same region, and you can bring that staff over, and that includes the bussers, the kick-ass bussers or the kick-ass food runner, like if you were, crapping all over them for the dumbest things, just being petty, they're less likely to come with you and come with you to the new location and make you look like a badass. Like, they're probably not even going to answer you. They don't care about you in that sense, right? So part of leadership is that people don't quit on you. And if you quit, they go with you. That's part of leadership. So that's why it's extremely important for you to treat these people with a lot of respect, and they just need to know that you have their best interest in mind, okay? Staffing, training, and development, that goes back to whenever it is that you have standard operating procedures. A lot of these training things should be built around sales, not just like making sure they do the job. It should be based on sales. Like every shift, they should be based on sales, because that's a core metric that you can prove you did this amount of sales. Look at your tip percentage. It's not good anymore. What is going on? Look at your tip percentage. We're going to give you better sections. You're the best server on earth because you get this many tips because your tips percentage is so high, right? Like, this everything's based off sales, so you might as well emphasize how important sales are. When it comes to certain restaurants, quality control is a huge, like, it's so important for you to emphasize to the kitchen how important quality control is. And then the stopgaps, the expediters and the runners, they need to know, or, the bartender, the well bartender. This quality control area, both of them, is so important. It just reduces, I would say, half of your headaches. Just half of your headaches. Because the food got to the table, or the drink got to the table somehow, and it's below quality standards. Guess who gets to go correct that? You do. So if you're harassing, but in a nice way, if you're harassing the quality control stopgaps, which is the well bartender, the expediters, and runners, then you're 100% covering your own ASS, right? Because you need to be able to have someone cover your back. You're not there expediting. You can't be at the bar watching the bartenders 24/7. You can't. It's not possible. And why should you? It's a waste of time. Clearly, you need to address whomever is not doing their job correctly, but there are people, extra sets of eyeballs, that need a reminder to make sure everything's going well. And speaking of which, anyone interested out there that has a franchise or at least 2 or more locations that needs help with expediting robots, I call them robots. It's an AI system that, basically makes sure that if the wings are supposed to be 8 wings in that basket, the picture or the video that is taken of that basket will return a green check mark saying, yes, this does have 8 chicken wings. And yes, it said barbecue. That's what it looks like. This is barbecue. Anyone that's interested in that, click the link below, right in the description. You'll get patched into this new system. It's going to be bought by like DoorDash and all that stuff. So it's not my company. Full disclosure, it's not my company. I have a friend that's involved in it, and his company is, it's getting there. It takes a while. AI takes a while because it needs data points, needs pictures, it needs video, and then it cross-references all those dishes and all that stuff for future use. So when it sees the basket come back to the camera, okay, that looks good. No, it does not look good. You get a nice little red X, and then all of a sudden the cook has to go do the correction, whatever it is that needs to be corrected, okay? Or if the food's been sitting there too long, or before it gets packaged, which is the important part. This is the reason I think the online delivery services are looking at this company. It's because when you pack stuff up and it goes out the door and it arrives at the destination, you want to talk about headaches. You want to make sure that headache does not occur, because you don't want that phone call. Well, I'm not going to come back. Someone's going to have to come deliver the food to my house. And how many times have I done that? Was it my fault? No, it was the expediter and the cook's fault. But I had to go deliver it, because who's going to stay there in the rush? Or I have to go send another manager or send someone else, and now we're short-staffed because no one was paying attention to start with. What I'm getting at is, anyone interested in that kind of system that'll help you with eliminating that kind of headache for your online delivery, click the link below. We'll set up a call for discovery and find out what kind of systems you have, what restaurant menu you're dealing with, and then we'll fix that, okay? I want everyone to do really well, and I want all aspiring managers to at least give themselves a shot at least interviewing and then at least answering correctly during the interview. Another bonus tip, if you need to practice and learn how to do a little more confident type of role playing, I suggest you do that with everyone you can. You need to exude confidence during the interview. It's extremely important because it exudes competency and the ability to lead people.